Hello, RailCats fans, and welcome back to the RailCats Talk podcast. And did we break out the brooms or what? What a game, possibly the game of the year. Wow. That game went completely sideways on me. That was one of those games that you just thought that was just gonna go wrong, and it was gonna be a long night, and the Railcats were so close to getting a sweep, and it was just taken away at one swing of the bat. But then the Railcats came back and they rallied and they freaking won. That was a freaking game. Wow, I'm still super excited. I mean, yeah, you had that walk off win with Rooker in extra innings, but this game was just you saw the power. You saw the consistency. Chris freaking Burgess has found his power with back-to-back home runs. Well, back-to-back games with a home run in it, and when the Railcats needed it most. He hits the tying home run yesterday, and then he hits the winning home run today in the ninth. Like, oh, I, I don't. I am just so excited. I, I'm at loss for words, but so happy to get into this, and I'm glad I'm gonna have so much time to talk about this because this is a game to talk about. I I am. This is the team when the pitching wasn't quite there, and the offense said, you know what, let's go and step it up and let's punch him right in the mouth and get this sweep and get our record just 3 games under 500 and tie the Dockhounds for fourth in the division. Like, this is what they need. This is the game they need to do. They need to sweep. They beat them 5 games in a row. Like, the Railcats are catching fire. And you know what? I'm gonna say maybe Ryan Zimmerman deserves a little credit because he went on with the American Association and talked about these Railcats. I was saying, don't sleep on them. And guess what? People are sleeping on them. And guess what they're doing? They're winning games. It's all coming together. Like, this month has been crazy for the Railcats. I am just appalled at the ability to come back, what they're being able to do, especially in these last 4 games. Like, we were just afraid the Railcats were just gonna win a game here, lose a series there. But they went from winning a game to winning a series to getting a sweep. This, this game went by so quick. The first 3 innings were done in like a half hour. Like, I was expecting this gonna be a pitcher duels, just like the 3 games prior, and the Dockhounds just said, you know what, we're gonna flip this script on this one here in the 4th inning. So I'll get down to some of the scoring here. Looking in the 4th inning here, it started out with Barry hitting a single, Jimenez hitting a single, Briggs struck out, and then actually, whoa, I take that back. I take that back. Hold up, sorry, I take that back. I looked at the wrong here. All right, so it actually starts out with Snyder hitting a bunt for a single. Now, I commented on the Railcats Twitter page or tweet when they were basically talking about it being a no-hitter, a perfect game for Sheiks at this point. Listen, it's a 0-0 game. There's no offense going, and it's in the 4th inning. If this was in the I don't even care if this was in the 9th inning and it was a 0-0 game, you're trying to win a ball game. All right, the unwritten rules at this point just go out the window. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to me. I think some of it's BS. Now, if it was 10-0 in the 9th inning, okay, all right, that's a little shady. That sucks. That's stupid. It is what it is. But at the 4th inning, this is what they needed. They needed to start the offense. And the offense just they had 7 hits out of 9 batters. Or no, wait, take that back. 10 batters. 10 batters. My bad. 70 in that inning, 70% of the team had a hit. So it started out with the bunt with Snyder, and then Takas hit a single, and then Bennett hit a single, and then Noriega just came up and goes, you know what? I ordered a grand salami today, and he just hits a moonshot out there to right center field or left center field, and then it still continued. Brusa hit a single, then Yo struck out, and then Barry hit a single. Jimenez hit a single, and then Briggs struck out, and then Snyder came back in, and then he flew out to Javion Williams. And at that point, the RailCats go from the 4th-0, the 5th-0, and then in the 6th inning, it starts out with Olud hitting a double, bouncing off the wall, and then Walraven grounded out to short, and then Javion Williams, who's been very impressive the past 2 games. I'll give you, he's been very impressive. He's been playing defense as stellar, but his offense game is starting to pick up. He drew a walk, had 2 hits in this game, but there in the 6th, he hit a double, which then moved Olin to 3rd, and then Wells hit an RBI single up the middle, bringing in Olud, and then Walraven had it reminded me of like a suicide safety kind of squeeze deal, safety squeeze bunt, suicide squeeze, that kind of stuff, which brought in Williams, and I'm not sure if they gave him. They did give him an RBI, which I thought it should be an RBI. It ended up being a fielder's choice. It's more like a sack bunt, fielder's choice kind of deal. But that gets them on the board with 2 runs, and then in the 7th, then in the bottom of the 6th here, Yo hits a double, and then Barry strikes out, and then Jimenez hits a single, which then moves, and then Briggs hits a single as well, which I'm pretty sure brought in Barry. I didn't write down who got the RBI, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was. And then Snyder struck out. Takis hit a single, but there was only 1 run in that game, or 1 run in that inning with 4 hits. And then nothing in the 7th for the RailCats, nothing in the 7th for the Dockhounds, and then in the 8th, this is when everything just started to kind of come together. So Javion Williams leads it off. He gets a single, and then he moves on a wild pitch. Wells grounds out to short, which at that point, this is a game of inches or a game of what ifs here, because if there wasn't more of a pass ball, if it wasn't a pass ball, Wells the next pitch would have grounded in a double play. So like that's just little things here and there that have been missed throughout some kind of games. Like that's a big mistake by the Dockhounds in that one. That pass ball was a huge mistake. But then that brings in Woodworth. He hits a single, and then Lingua's like, you know what? I've been hot all year. Well, the past handful of games, I would say, the past at least half a month, he's been him and Woodworth have been the hottest hitters, I would say. And he goes, you know what? I am going to, 1, swing the hardest I've seen him swing the bat. 2, make perfect contact with the ball and watch that ball sail for a 3-run shot to tie the game. And I'm like, oh, we just tied. We just tied this game up. We just tied this game up at 5. Like, that inning was the inning that the RailCats needed. And they did it perfectly. So, you go into the 9th. And it starts out with Burgess. On his second pitch he faces, he gets all of this ball. Like, this was like yesterday's home run foul ball, but he hits this ball perfectly, and this thing just goes. You can see I-94 in the background, and that dang thing almost flew to it. Like, obviously it wouldn't have. But this ball would have hit I-90 at the steel yard. This ball would have probably gone over the protective fencing in the steel yard and went into I-90. Like, that is how hard he hit this ball. And that ball just went, and I'm going, oh, we're going to win this game. I'm like, this is what you needed. You need Mr. Clutch in 2 games in a row. I mean, you had 2 Mr. Clutches in this game because Daniel Lingua ties this game up on a home run. So you're definitely that Mr. Clutch. But Mr. Clutch number 2 here is Chris Burgess. And he hit it, and we're starting to see that power. You know, we were wondering when the power from Burgess was going to come. And he had a 2-for-4 night, and that's what you want to see from these players. You know, realistically, the only people you didn't get any production from was Walraven, Rasmussen, and Cruz, right? You had 3 people that didn't really contribute much, if anything, to the game. Everyone else, from top, bottom, middle, they all contributed, and that's what you need. This is how the RailCats are going to win games. When they're pitching, Sheiks didn't have a very good night. It's just to plain and be honest. That one, he had a stellar night through the 3rd. The 4th inning just bit him. And, you know, that's huge. This is the type of game that the RailCats have been playing. They've always fought in games, but they're finally seeing the results. The temperature's getting warmer. There was no wind. The balls are going, and you're starting to see the power. And it was just gonna take a little bit. I think we all knew as RailCats fans, following this team, that eventually something would come along. Don't know when, but it was coming. And this is where it's at. And then in the 9th, at the bottom of the 9th, it got tricky. Well, I should say back in the 7th, after Lingua hit the 3-run shot, Snyder went down. Don't know what happened. It was kind of a weird. I was watching it on my phone, so I couldn't really tell what happened, and no one really said anything. So he went out, and Carranza came in for relief. But things got a little hairy, I would say. So Carranza comes up, and he hits a towering fly or pop up to the mound. That would have been Phillips at the time was on the mound, just up in the air, and he assumed that there was someone behind him, and no one ended up being behind him, and the ball fell in between every infielder. So there may not have been an error on that play, but I'm gonna give an error to all the infielders. All right, because to me personally, when I played baseball, and now I know that changes throughout the year, especially when you're a pitcher, but if the game is that close, as a pitcher, my mindset would be I have to do everything in my power to make sure this game doesn't either 1, go to extra innings, or 2, they end up winning the game. Like, as my mindset, I want to be that guy that's going to end the game. And I understand it's a flying, towering pop-up. You may have lost in the lights, but, you know, not even being able to kind of turn around and direct kind of sort of traffic, doing anything involved with the play. Like, I guess for me, my mindset's a little bit different when that stuff comes to that. I mean, even Lingua and Woodworth, they both should have been flying in and communicating, saying, hey, mine, or whoever. Like, all of everyone should be just flying in together. And Daniel Lingua taking charges, he should be as the shortstop commander, you know, who does what. You know, if he can't get to it, he can survey the area. But in a big spot there, that's what you don't want to happen. But then Takis hits a ball to Burgess right back up to right back up to Phillips, and he throws a second, and it was so close, and got Carranza out at second. And then Bennett came up, and he hits a ground ball right to Burgess, and Burgess goes to throw it to second, but he muffles it a little bit, and he doesn't get the full control, so he just takes the out, and then Phillips just full count 3. So at this point, I'm sitting there thinking, Noriega, he had the grand salami in the 4th inning. Maybe potentially, you have a runner on second. Oh no, yeah, you have a runner on second because Takas moved over. I didn't write that down on the scorebook, so that kind of screwed me off. Um, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe you just intentionally walk him because I would have brought up Brusa, and he went. I guess he went 1 for 3, but maybe nothing major out of that would have happened. But they chose to stick with it, and Phillips, was kind of pitching around him a little bit, and went to a 3-0 count, and then threw a fastball down the middle. Noriega wasn't even going to try it, and then I think it was 2 breaking balls. One right down the that ended up breaking. I think sort of in the middle. He swung and missed, and then he swung and missed on the last one, and a full count strikeout to end the game. Like that's just the cherry on top. The full count strikeout. The fans are cheering. I'm sitting there shaking, and it just boop, cherry on top to the beautiful Sunday that we got to. I don't know, Sunday as far as the ice cream, not like the actual Sunday. Just what a game. And so with that being said, with that game being done and over with, my 2 players of the game have to go to Daniel Lingua and Chris Burgess. Looking at the stat line, yeah, Daniel only hit 1 home run, or he only had 1 hit. He went 1 for 3, but it was a 3-run moonshot that got everyone together and tied the game up. And then Chris Burgess went 2 for 4 with the game-winning home run. Those are my 2 players of the game. I could potentially I could put Aaron Phillips up there because he didn't give up a run in 3 2/3 innings. But he did his job, and then the offense did their job. So it's just kind of one of those, and maybe I could have put him in it. He may be the honorable mention sort of deal on that one. So Aaron Phillips is the winning pitcher of record, and Cyril Watson, he's the losing pitcher. So that was just what a game. So let's just kind of go through the RailCat stats here. Zach Wells went 1 for 5, 2 strikeouts. Michael Woodworth he was at bat, or it was 1 for 4, 1 run, 1 RBI. Daniel Lingua, 1 hit, 1 home run, 1 run, 3 at bats, 1 strikeout. Michael Cruz went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Zachary Crewson went 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Chris Burgess, 2 hits, 1 run, a solo shot with an RBI, with the solo shot to take the lead in the 9th, which would end up being the deal breaker there. Alec Olid went 1 for 4 with 2 strikeouts and 1 run. Tom Walraven went 0 for 4. Javion Williams had 2 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk at 3 at bats. Looking at the stat line here, Sheiks went 5 1/3 inning, gave up 12 hits, had 5 runs, all earned, and 6 strikeouts. Aaron Phillips went 3 2/3, gave up 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. Looking at the Lake Country Dockhounds here, Snyder went 1 for 4, went out with the strikeout, and then went out in the 7th with an injury. Don't know what the injury was. And then Carranza came in with a 1 hit at bat. Think it should be an error, but technically since no one really touched it. Then Takas came in. He had 3 hits, 1 run on 5 at bats. Bennett had 1 hit, 1 run, 2 strikeouts at 5 at bats. Noriega had 2 hits, which was he had one of them was the grand slam with the 4 RBIs, 1 run, 2 strikeouts at 5 at bats. Brusa came in, had 1 hit, 1 walk, 1 strikeout at 3 at bats. And then Yo had 1 hit, 1 run, 1 strikeout at 4 at bats. Barry had 4 at bats, 1 hit, no strikeouts. Jimenez had 2 hits at 4 at bats. And then Briggs, who went from right to left because of the injury to Snyder, had 1 hit, 1 RBI, 2 strikeouts at 4 at bats here. And then Jimenez, the pitcher, different Jimenez. One spelled the Wilfredo Jimenez is spelled with a G, and then Francisco Jimenez is spelled with a J. And then Francisco went 6 innings, gave up 3 hits on 2 runs, 2 earned, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, and then Taylor Boyle came in and he had pitched 1 inning, gave up 1 hit on 2 strikeouts, and then Mitch Sparks came in and he pitched 1/3 inning, gave up 3 hits, 3 runs, all earned, no walks, no strikeouts, and then Cirelio, I found it now. Cirelio Watson is the losing pitcher of record. Pitched an inning and 2/3, 1 hit, 1 run, which was earned, 1 walk, and 2 strikeouts. So that's everyone's stat lines on that portion of it. Looking at maybe I think really there was only one really good defensive play by Michael Woodworth, who I think has played very well. He is starting to play very well. He's starting to find his rhythm. It looks like he's playing a lot smoother. The ball, it's just looking like he's able to read the ball better. He's just getting more comfortable, and I think with the team getting hot, I think the batting also helps a lot. He's becoming very hot. He's at now a 272 batting average, which he was low 100s, and he's starting to raise that up. Lingua still leads the team at 363 batting average, so he's still been on fire. But Michael Woodworth made a beautiful diving play. I believe it was Rob Brusa of a hit that ended the inning, which could have potentially turned into something. But that was a beauty there. I did see. I'm gonna do something really quick. I did see that the speaking of catching, that the Chicago Dogs had released DeMars. I want to look at his stats here. I guess he only played in 1 game. I thought he played a couple against us when he played. I guess not. I thought he did. Must have been my bad. Okay, never mind. I guess I thought that he did something against us. I know he was in the lineup, but I guess he only had 1 at bat. They just released. I was just looking. There's other people that released. I know the Salt Dogs just released a catcher. I guess you're just not getting anything from Cruz, and I don't know if it's gonna be like a Burgess thing where he has to get the 1 home run, and then things start to come together. But you're just not getting anything out of him that you would like to see, and when you're sitting here looking at the lineup, I mean, Jackson Smith is second. He hasn't had as many at bats as most other people, but he's still batting at 286. Like, I guess for me, I would rather have him in the lineup. I mean, he still can play very good catching, and he's been hitting the ball very well. I don't know what it is about Cruz. I don't know if it's just a motivation thing, and then you're still batting him cleanup hitter. Like, he hasn't proven anything to be a cleanup hitter. You know what I'm saying? To me, what you're working with, I guess the issue is that you don't really have a DH at this point, because Sam Abbott comes in and he started out really well, but he's kind of slowed off and not been very productive. He's just below Michael Cruz. Javion Williams is starting to reach there. So I don't know. I think that's the DH spot that's kind of throwing everything off right now. With Burgess starting to play a little bit better, I mean, I think he's solidified himself at first. I think he's been playing very well at first defensively. Rakusin, yeah, he didn't really do anything, but he's also batting at 218 right now, and Walraven isn't doing anything at this point. I mean, he's of the active players, the bottom of that. So I guess I don't know how, I think they may need to go out and find a DH of some sort. So I think with a bunch of releases that are going around, the Salt Dogs released a couple catchers, that kind of stuff. So I mean, they might be starting to look around just for that, or they're just kind of hoping to see what happens and kind of run with it. But looking ahead for the next series, which will be against the Sioux City Explorers, they are coming off of a loss tonight. They lost 6-0 against the King County Cougars. Oh, my bad. So they had a doubleheader because the game on Wednesday got rained out. They won the first game 9-3. Then they lost the second game. Lost it by 6. And then they were coming in with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game winning streak. They just got done beating the RailCats. But just looking at ahead, so game Friday night, which is tomorrow night, will be at 4 o'clock, 7 innings, doubleheader, and then 7 o'clock again, doubleheader, and then they play Saturday at 7 and Sunday at 4, all at the Steel. And then, yeah, they play at 4, and then on Sunday they play at the Steel Yard again. So that's the next series. Looking ahead at that, I'm just looking at other things. Looking at the standings as well, because the Explorers are 9-13, with the RailCats now improving themselves to 11-14 and actually jumped. They're technically tied, but they jumped the Dockhounds, so they are now in that 4th spot, and hopefully, and they're 6-4 the last 6-4 the last 10 games, and that's second best behind the Chicago Dogs, who are 9-1. But they're starting to catch a little fire, and I mean, you win a game, you win some more games here, and potentially the Milkmen lose some, you may jump them. They're technically 2 games behind them in that, but we'll see how that kind of works out because the Milkmen haven't played as many games. A couple games got rained out. But I mean, they're, when you look at the record, the Dogs are kind of running away with the division right now. They're 16-7, but then the Cougars are 13-11, Milkmen are 12-11, and the RailCats and Dockhounds are 11-14. So I mean, it's going to be a tight race. I think it's going to end up being a tight race, and this is something that the RailCats, I think, need to be motivated into staying to do. To stay in this at least. But that is what it's looking like. So also game plan for the weekend. I'll probably do a podcast for the first doubleheader game. But this weekend is my bachelor party, so it's a Saturday, or actually on Saturday. We're spending the day in Chicago, going to a White Sox game, and enjoying that. So there may be a podcast on Friday, but for the one game, not for Saturday. Sunday potentially, there'll be a podcast, just depending on how I feel and what we do. Especially being a 4 o'clock game, I don't know. I'll see. Maybe I'll end up going to the game. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But then things will kick back around. I'll have to look at my work schedule and things like that. But I'll kick back on it Monday. Again, I'll make sure I maybe throw something in there, a podcast here or two, just pre-recorded or something like that get out at a certain date. So yeah, but I think I took about 30 minutes of your time, which if you stayed all the way to the end, I really do appreciate. This was a game that I wanted to talk about and get kind of involved with a little bit because it was a very good game, a very exciting game. But RailCats come back in winning fashion, beat the Lake Country Dockhounds in a sweep, 5 games straight, 4 games in this series, but take a series out, and then they beat them in the last series at home. But the brooms were out, we're sweeping away. Enjoyed the game, definitely enjoyed the game. But if you enjoyed the podcast, please leave a like, comment. I will always try to comment back on things that I may have missed or what your perspectives are, just to have discussions about certain things. But and then if you really enjoy it and you want to support the podcast, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, follow me on Twitter, like my page on Facebook, follow whatever you want to do on that. Comment. I do both Twitter and Facebook. I try to get on there and do both. Sometimes during the game it's kind of hard to do both, but I'll try my best to do it. Twitter's mostly where I kind of hang around, but I'm trying to get a little bit back into Facebook on that aspect of it. But I'm your host, Kyle Savedich. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, rest of your evening, whenever you're listening to this, and go Cats.